Y'all, that Risa Tisa story is wild, but I've put myself together. I got some sleep, I took a shower, and I'll continue on now with my story. All right, just doing a little recap. I was adopted through this adoption agency. And since I was a child, I used to have precognitive dreams. That's important if you understand the Catholic Church's stance on those types of things. I grew up in this small town, which is only 30 minutes from a town called Watseka. This is me on my first Holy Communion in 1976. If you look really close at my face, I have 2 black eyes because I had a bike accident where I knocked out my front tooth. It was one of many head injuries that I had when I was a child. In 1977, this book was written about the town of Watseka. The same man that wrote that book wrote this book. It's the same story. It's a true story that happened in the 1800s, and I'll give you more information on that. This is Mary Roff, and she was the beloved daughter of Asa Roff, who was a very wealthy spiritualist that lived in Watseka, Illinois. Back in the 1800s, they didn't realize what was wrong with Mary Roff, and she would have episodes. They ended up putting her in an insane asylum, which Asa Roff never forgave himself for, and she died when she was 19 years old. Because he was a spiritualist, he did seances, he sacrificed animals, and he did many things to bring his daughter Mary Roff back. This is the Roff house in Watseka, Illinois. It is where the Roff family lived, including Mary Roff, until she was put into an insane asylum in Peoria, Illinois, where she died at the age of 19. And this is Laurency Vellum. She actually never knew Mary Roff because she was born after her death. The Vellum family and the Roff family lived very near each other. This is a modern-day picture of the land where the Roff family would do seances and do animal sacrifices, again, wanting to bring their daughter back to life. In 1877, the spirit of Mary Roff inhabited the body of Laurency Vellum. I've mentioned this group before, the Society of Cyclical Research. They're based out of the United Kingdom, and they've been around since the 1800s. They came all the way over to Watseka, Illinois, to do a study on Laurency Vellum. Richard Hodgins actually wrote about Laurency Vellum in his book that he published, The Watseka Wonder. Instances of spontaneous possession exhibiting any kind of plausibility are rare. One of the best attested cases is that of Laurency Vellum. Asa Roff wanted his daughter Mary back so bad and felt so guilty about putting her in an insane asylum that when Laurency Vellum exhibited some of the same things due to the fact that she had epilepsy and she was possessed, he actually had her come and live with them, believing that his daughter was inhabiting her body. This is actually a movie that was done about the case. And I've actually been in the house because they have ghost hunting tours, even though it was not a ghost at all. It was an actual possession. But the Catholic Church is very funny about these things. Any form of precognitive dreams are considered witchcraft. And I've been having these dreams since I was a child. I will share some of them with you in another video. One of the head injuries that I sustained when I was 4 years old, I hit the tile floor and a cross was formed on my forehead.
Face of the enemy.
Let the enemy have no power over us.
And the son of iniquity be powerless.
I had nothing to do with it. It wasn't witchcraft at all. It was just the tile on the floor made a cross on my forehead, and it was the first head injury that I had ever endured. And as a young girl, sometimes we would play this game at slumber parties. And I was in every Catholic group that you could fathom. I was in the Happening, the Renew group, and I went to CCD. On May 9th, 1985, one of the Renew Group members, who happened to have been one of my good friends from church, passed away, and I felt horribly guilty about it. And then in July of 1985, one of my best friends was killed in a car accident. I was never the same afterwards. We used to play with this at slumber parties that she and I were at, and I never would touch another one again. But the mind games that the Catholic Church played on me at this time put me in a terrible state of mind, and I decided that I needed to reach out and get help. I was watching television one day, and the Air Force Academy was playing Notre Dame, and back in 1985 in October, I saw a play that I'll never forget, and so I called him. I didn't send him a picture of myself. I sent him a picture of a really beautiful girl from our school. But I talked to him, and I'll never forget him. But that was the start of why I started reaching out to people and calling them. I needed their help. In Watseka, Illinois, they do real seances and sacrifice real animals, and it still goes on to this day. Justin Laudner is a director from our local area. He's very familiar with Watseka. This is from one of his horror films that he filmed there. And this is actually from The Devil Within. I'll show you a clip. He produced that movie. Again, an interesting caveat about this director is that he also taught at Catholic school. When I was just a little girl, my grandparents' home got broken into when they were in Florida, and there was a devil worshiping scenario that was set up in their house. But I'm not into any of that. I just have precognitive dreams. And losing my friends at a young age has done something to me that I can quite never get over. And don't forget, we watched this movie in Catechism. It came out in 1983. And I want to stress the seances and animal sacrifices in this local area are real. And this is how close I live to Watseka, Illinois. There's more to the story, but I just want you to know I called people for a reason. I'll explain more in future videos, but I just want you to know to not be afraid of precognitive dreams. They're not witchcraft, they're not demonology, they're nothing bad like that. Our dreams are meant to help us, and I've studied them for many, many years on a level that even doctors are amazed with. So keep dreaming.